if I'm looking at, my recipe and I'm saying what materials, if any, could I potentially use a cheaper research grade material on a preclinical study? I'm wondering what kinds of what categories of materials you would suggest. I mean, Larry, you were just talking about enzymes, which seem like you should be able to do enzymes, because they have that same activity, but maybe not.
It's tricky. You can run this again. An enzyme activity assay. Let's say you're buying a polymerase to do an IVT reaction, and just make up something. Okay. They're probably using some generic DNA and doing some replication or some transcription, something with whatever you're looking at, some very basic assay where they're looking at that. That may not align at all with a process at 25 liters where you're doing an saRNA that's 12 kilobases long. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it just really, a lot of these things, to be honest, come down to getting them and running them in your lab at some small scale process. We can get down into this in a different thing, but I think one of the most valuable things that someone who is manufacturing these complex biologics needs to have is a small scale process that mimics the large scale that you can test all of the quality of these materials out in. It's like a use test where you can put everything in there, all 5 or 6 times, whatever, however you're doing it, test it out at that scale and show that it works like you need it to work. That is more functional than safety, but I think a very important investment and something that can save you a ton of money on the back end. Maybe if you can't get everything you need from your supplier, you can at least get it from your use test. Now, you may not be able to get the money back from the supplier because they manufactured a lot for you, but at least you can say that didn't work before you take it in at scale. Qualifying suppliers, qualifying their materials, it is an investment. You have to figure out, again, how much risk tolerance you're willing to handle. I don't know. I kind of went down a rabbit hole there, but just something else I sort of wanted to plug in terms of that small scale use test. We've seen it incredibly valuable, especially in comparability assessments and qualifying suppliers.
So I probably jumping at a little bit is if, let's say, you really have to, for the cost constraint, then I would suggest minimum is try to keep some retained for your different batch of raw material, assuming they have longer stability, not going to be expire very quickly. Then at least you can monitor it, because the benefit there is you can, assuming you buy multiple lots from the same vendor, it's all R&D grade. And then to Larry's point, if you have a scaled down models, or if you just use in your regular way, you can monitor your product CQAs. If they typically pretty consistent, then assuming that can build your confidence is this R&D grade, whatever your vendor does have at least a certain level of control. But if you quickly see, between lot to lot, quickly you see the huge swing about CQAs or product, then you should make a mental notice that this may not be something you need to look in a little bit deeper. Your process or product may not be able to tolerate the variabilities between lot to lot. At the least, don't just use one lot from beginning to end. Try to introduce some variabilities you could, then give you a better understanding about the qualities of the R&D grade material.